Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shelly, and today I am going to be talking through my June to be read list. Now, this video is a tiny bit late, but I can explain why. So I have some books here that in a normal month, these would be the books that I would probably focus on, or at least attempt to focus on. But this year, and particularly for June and July, I have signed up to judge the Booktube Prize. Now, if you don't know what the Booktube Prize is, it is a readers judged literary prize. There are two categories, fiction and nonfiction, and I signed up for both. So I think that tomorrow, or on June 1st, whenever you are watching this, for me that's tomorrow in this real-time moment, I believe I am going to be chosen, or I think I'll be chosen to be a judge. I think that there is a kind of smaller pool of nonfiction judges. Nonfiction judges are in need, so I have a hunch that I might be judging nonfiction. And if that happens, then I am going to be assigned to read 6 books over the course of 2 months. And so I don't really know what these next few months are really going to look like for me, because I might be judging the Booktube Prize. I might be kind of busy with other reads, but I thought I would break up this video like this. So actually, before I get into the meat of the video, after that long sort of contextualization of what this to be read video is going to be about, maybe on judging. But anyways, this is how the video is going to go down. Actually, before I do that, get it together, Swearingen. If you are new to my channel, then hi, welcome. I am Shelly, and I have a passion for books, reading, literary prizes, and I love getting involved in the booktube community in some way or another. And so there are events in June that are intriguing me. I have a couple of buddy reads set up, and I might be judging the Booktube Prize. So if that sounds like your jam as well, then I would encourage you to subscribe, stick around. And now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Here is how the video is gonna go down. This is my structure, mostly to keep me on pace. I have a stack of 5 books that are calling to me because of an event or a book club or something Booktube related. I don't know if I'll get to all of these because of the previously mentioned possible judging. But I'm going to talk you through these books. Then I am going to look at what is being offered for the Booktube Prize. I'm going to give you a scope of what I've already read from the prize and what I hope to get. I'll have an emphasis on nonfiction. So what I'll be looking at the Booktube Prize, and then tomorrow, once there is an announcement for whether I'm a judge or not, I'll come back on. And I'll either, I'll tell you what I'm judging if I'm judging something, or I'll tell you if I'm not. So that's kind of the scope. And if I am judging, I'll talk you through the books that I was assigned. That way we all know. And you'll have a better scope of what I'll probably be reading over the next couple of months. Okay, so all of the context for the video. Anyhow, the first event that I'm interested in is Sandy, my friend Sandy from the channel Miss Reads a Lot. She runs a book club here on Booktube called the 1001 Book Club, because it's named after her project to read the 1001 books you must read before you die. One of those behemoth of those encyclopedic books. They're huge, they're bricks. And they give you 1001 books that one must read before they die, according to those book critics. And anyways, this month her choice is Go Tell It on the Mountain by James Baldwin. I have read 2 James Baldwin pieces, and this would be my third. I noticed that James Baldwin tends to have 2 voices in his writing, or I've noticed 2 distinct voices. One of them is very sort of soft and reflective. I felt like he had that kind of voice It's precise, it's soft, and it's reflective. That's the kind of writing one got when you read Giovanni's Room. The other one is very preacherly, very fiery. It's also precise, but it has this tangible, almost heated quality to it. So I'm wondering what kind of version we're going to get in this story. One of my for sure reads is going to be dun 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 dun, Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove. I'm going to be reading this at Mark from Book Time with Elvis, and this is going to be for June on the Range. Now, all the hosts of June on the Range are going to have to forgive me because I don't remember everyone, but I'm going to leave the event details and all of the hosts down below, linked down below. This is how Lonesome Dove starts. When Augustus came out on the porch, the blue pigs were eating a rattlesnake, not a very big one. It had probably just been crawling around looking for shade when it ran into the pigs. They were having a fine tug of war with it, and its rattling days were over. The sow had it by the neck, and the shout had the tail. Oh my gosh, okay, well, that's quite the opening. For any of you snake dislikers, snake haters out there, quite a vivid opening. Next up, the Black Hearts Book Club, which is ran by very literary Kari here on Booktube. It's ran by Kari, whose channel name is Very Literary Kari, picked My Cousin Rachel by Daphne du Maurier. And I have loved everything I read by Daphne du Maurier. All two things that I read, Jamaica Inn and Rebecca. And so this would be my third book by her. And this is how it starts. They used to hang men at 4 turnings in the old days. Not anymore though. Now, when a murderer pays the penalty for his crime, he does so up at Bodmin after a fair trial at the Assizes. That is, if the law convicts him before his own conscience kills him. It is better so, like a surgical operation. I don't know, there's something about du Maurier's writing that just sucks you right in. Like, it just is so atmospheric, it's so lovely. So I might join in on this because this looks so good. One of my buddy readers, or I like to say reading buddies, Anita and I have been talking about our next read because we have big feelings about The Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. I might do a whole review video on that because I actually think, because it's a new release, that it would be quite helpful to review. But anyhow, we've been talking about our next possible read, and what the thing that's on the docket, though it's totally subject to change based on our excitement for this novel or the other, is The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. Now, I don't know much about this book, but let's see how it starts. The journey was no worse than she expected. A train from London to Liverpool, the steam packed overnight to Dublin, a slow Sunday train west to a town called Athlone. Okay, not the most exciting, I'm gonna be honest, not the most exciting introduction, but who knows? I mean, we're going somewhere, and maybe we'll have like the Watson effect, like somebody will come onto a scene and be told what's going on because they're new. Okay, my brain is already starting with this, but yeah, I've wanted to read this and now I'm excited to jump into Emma Donoghue for like the first time ever. Finally, we have Classics and Company, and Classics and Company is ran by Ann Novella and Micah Cummins. And this read is being co-hosted by Jen from Remembered Reads and Steve Donoghue. And they have chosen Memoirs of Hadrian by Marguerite Yourcenar. I should have pretended to at least known what that pronunciation is. But anyways, this has been on my shelves for a little while. It's one that I've wanted to read. I've heard amazing things about the writing of this book, and I have a hunch that I just will want to read this summer anyways. So I don't know, even if I don't get to it in June, I feel like it's on my mind for the year. We'll say that. It's on my mind to finish in 2023. You know, I'm going to eat those words probably at the end of the year, but you know, we're being hopeful today. All right, now I'm going to talk about the Booktube Prize, what I've read, and what I hope to be judging if I were to choose, my grouping. So what happens with the Booktube Prize is that it starts off with the octafinals, and that's 48 books in each category. So there's a fiction category and the nonfiction category. We are currently in, because it's the last day of May, we're currently in the quarterfinals, which is 24 books. And then we'll go from 24 to 12, so quite the jump. And as far as the fiction books, with the 24 being offered, I have read Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, Foster by Claire Keegan, what else? The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell, and Young Mungo by Douglas Stuart. So I've read those 4 books, and I have, my opinions about them. And if I were to choose, of course it's always kind of nice to, if I were chosen to, there's crashes going on, my children starting to play with their Legos. If I was to judge a fiction round, it's always nice to get something you've already read before, because then you don't have as many books to read. So, maybe if, it would be ideal, like, if I was judging fiction and all 4 of the books I had read were in a group, and then I'd only have to read 2. But that's my most conservative, that's like the most conservative side of me. The adventurous side of me would say, oh man, I got my little necklaces all turned about. The adventurous side of me would love to read Geraldine Brooks's Horse. I've heard really good things about that. I would also love to read Our Wives Under the Sea. I have a curious interest, like a small interest in Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. And I wouldn't be mad at being assigned The 7 Moons of Molly Alameda, because I know that won the Booker last year and I haven't read it yet. And I wouldn't, I'm curious about, though I feel like there's quite polarizing reviews for Trespasses by Louise Kennedy. All right, so like I said, there's more of a need for nonfiction judges in the Booktube Prize right now, or for the Booktube Prize right now. And so the likelihood that I would be chosen as a judge and then also chosen to judge nonfiction is a little bit higher, I think. So as far as the quarterfinalists, I've read only 1 nonfiction book on this list, and it is I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. But of the books I would want to read, I would love to read An Immense World by Ed Young, Breathless by David Quammen. I've heard really good things about River of the Gods by Candace Millard. I'm also interested in The Song of the Cell by Siddhartha Mukherjee and The Facemaker by Lindsey Fitzharris. I found out recently I love sort of like gory, gruesome, medically like icky books where they describe like just limbs and diseases and all of that. So some of that is shaping my interest in what's being offered for the Booktube Prize. Oh, I guess 2 more books that I kind of skipped over because I'm just looking at it. One of which is Did You Hear Mammy Died by Seamus O'Reilly. I've heard really good things about that memoir, and I'm curious about it. Though I think that is the only memoir that I've mentioned so far. And then the last one that I am somewhat interested in is Dinners with Ruth by Nina Totenberg. It's only because Nina Totenberg, the author, I know some of her other work. She does some reporting for our national public radio here in the U.S. I just know of her work. I've seen her interviewed. I've never read anything by her, and I don't follow her career as like an author or anything, but she pops up in the news spaces that I tend to follow. So I think that would be interesting to get to know her in a different way, like her writing on the page. So those are the things. Those are the books. Those are the books that I'm interested in. So I'm going to move back to the center. But I'm going to come back tomorrow, and I'll tell you whether I'm a judge, what I'm judging, and we can perhaps take a little laugh at myself right now. Maybe I'll get everything I hoped for, or maybe I'll get nothing that I hoped for, but that's the risk that you take with the Booktube Prize. And you know what? Often, like, even if I don't get something that I'm itching to read, often it's, an interesting read, and it's something that I learn from. Yeah, so anyway, so that's it. So I will see you guys, for you in 1 second, but for me it'll be tomorrow. Hi, I'm back, and it is the following day. And indeed, what happened was what I predicted happened. I was chosen to judge for the Booktube Prize. I am judging a nonfiction round, and for those of you, maybe I'll scoot to the side, like sort of the edge of the frame. And for those of you who follow the Booktube Prize and just want to know the group that I'm in without all of my rambling, then I was assigned nonfiction group A, I believe. Okay. So, of the books, let me think, of the books that I said I wanted to read, 3, I think, made it. So The Song of the Cell by Siddhartha Mukherjee, Keith O'Brien's Paradise Falls, and Lindsey Fitzharris's The Facemaker. So 3 books that I was interested in. And let's just dig into what I was assigned, and I'll give you some first impressions, and then I will fall silent on this whole thing for a couple of months, and I'll come back after a couple of months when judging is over and give you some reviews on these books. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I have my computer in front of me, so I have my 4th Time We Drowned. This is the first book listed in the grouping, and it's by Sally Hayden. The subtitle, because all subtitles need to be 1,000,000 words long, is Seeking Refuge on the World's Deadliest Migration Route. And in a nutshell, oh my gosh, I'm excited. I've just had a weird day outside of book stuff, but it's been a good day. So in a few sentences, this is about an account of the migrant crisis across North Africa in a groundbreaking work of investigative journalism. So it's going to be following Libyan detention centers, and Hayden, the author, bases her writing on interviews of hundreds of refugees and migrants who tried to reach Europe and found themselves stuck in Libya once the EU started funding interceptions in 2007. So I don't know too much about the refugee crisis going on around the world. I know a little bit. So I'm sure what I'm going to be getting is really compelling, interesting, and it will be a very high learning curve for me, which typically means it'll be a good read because I like to learn. So that's my first book. I'm like, maybe I could put my computer a little bit like that. I know a tiny bit about The Song of the Cell because I was interested in this. I think it might have made Steve Donoghue's best nonfiction of the year, but don't quote me on that. So The Song of the Cell by Siddhartha Mukherjee. It is thinking about the human body as a cellular ecosystem. And I know that he intertwines his own personal narratives with a sciencey kind of, with a science narrative. His personal narratives with a science narrative. And I'm currently reading Covenant of Water by Abraham Verghese. I think I said this in the last clip. But anyways, I found out that I really enjoy sort of gritty books about the body. I think it's just fascinating. At least in that book, his writing, Verghese's most compelling writing has to do with when he's describing the conditions of the human body. So let's hope that Mukherjee with The Song of the Cell writes as compelling of a narrative as Verghese when it comes to like what's going on with our bodies. My next book is Half American, the epic story of African Americans fighting World War II at home and abroad, and this is by Matthew F. Delmont. Now, the paragraph that is describing the book sums it up perfectly, as you would expect. There's Harry. All right, I'm back. We're going to talk about the description of Half American. So, over 1 million Black men and women served in World War II. Black troops were at Normandy and Battle of the Bulge, serving in segregated units and performing unheralded but vital important jobs, only to be denied housing and educational opportunities on their return home. Without their crucial contributions, I can read today, I promise, of the war effort. The United States could not have won the war, and yet the stories of these Black veterans have long been ignored, cast aside in favor of the myth of the good war fought by the greatest generation. Interesting, compelling, I'm curious. All these books sound really curious. Oh my gosh, it's 400 pages. Okay, so I'm gonna be reading some big books this summer because I know my fourth time We Drowned is 464 pages. So I'm going to be getting quite the education this summer, but that's good. It's okay. I love to learn. We're gonna go with that. Another 400 plus page book, and it is Eating to Extinction, the World's Rarest Foods and Why We Need to Save Them, by Dan Saladino. Now, interesting. This is about, according to the notes and the description down below the book, in the notes section, it is about how the world of food is becoming homogenized. So 95% of the milk consumed is from a single breed of cow, and 1 in 4 beers come from a single brewery. And so, or is the product of one brewer. I don't know if that's, I guess that would be different because there'd be different breweries, but one brewer would own many different breweries. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not a beer drinker. But anyways, so Eating to Extinction has to do with the world of food. And so I think that's rather interesting, at least on the surface of it. Oh, this sounds like a Shelley book. Okay, so Paradise Falls by Keith O'Brien. The subtitle is A Deadly Secret, a Cover-Up, and the Women Who Forged the Modern Environmental Movement. So I guess I'm going to be reading a bit about the environment in the next couple of months, as well as some history. And let's see what this book is all about. Ooh, okay, so this is what it's about. Lois Gibbs and Luella Kennedy and other mothers love their neighborhood on the east side of Niagara Falls. It had an elementary school, a playground, and rows of affordable homes. But in the spring of 1977, pungent odors began to seep into these little houses, and it didn't take long for worried mothers to identify the curious scent. It was the sickly, sweet smell of chemicals. Oh my gosh, this sounds so good. Okay, all right, this is 496 pages. So again, kind of on a big book kick lately. Hopefully this doesn't kill it, but we're doing it. Okay, so I was curious. I didn't know. Okay, I'm putting some pieces together. So my last book is The Facemaker by Lindsey Fitzharris. And this is a visionary surgeon's battle to mend the disfigured soldiers of World War I. Now, the reason why the cover looked familiar is because Kim, at middle of the book march, read, Fitzharris's, the author's award-winning novel, The Butchering Art, which I believe was about the progress in medicine during the Victorian period, and just, it was like, I'm pretty sure it's that book that Kim was talking about. But anyways, if I'm remembering correctly, then it was like this gruesome, icky, yet really compelling read. And that's what I wanted to read. So this is about, this is about a pioneering plastic surgeon named Harold Gillies, who dedicated himself to reconstructing the burned and broken faces of the injured soldiers under his care. So I think this will be really good. I think that I'm sort of assuming this, but I think that Fitzharris, the author, is a compelling writer. She's interested in her topic. She makes it really engaging. And yeah, okay, I'm excited. This is actually a shorter book. It's 336 pages. So I got some big books coming my way and one less big book. But that's okay. You know what? I'm just so thrilled and honored to be a judge for the Booktube Prize. Yeah, okay, that's it. So you all know what I'm going to be reading over the next couple of months. And I have, my pile of possibilities, the other books I mentioned to you, and now I have some work to do to get a hold of these books, how I want to read them, ebook, whether it be ebook or whether it be from my library or if I'm going to buy any. I got to figure some stuff out. But thank you for going on this 2-day journey with me. It was a lot of fun. Let me know if you plan on reading anything, any of this, what's going on with you in your reading life. And yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all in my next one. Bye.